If you've been watching the Eagles lately, you already know the feeling. That strange mix of admiration and frustration. Porque a defesa esta jogando como grupo que realmente acredita que pode levar esse time de volta ao topo. Enquanto o ataque parece travado, ritmo pesado, quase arrestado. Every snap on offense looks harder than it should be. Every drive feels like a grind. And for a roster loaded with this much talent, it is impossible not to scratch your head and wonder how things got this messy. This defense is performing at a level that screams championship potential, flying around the field, adjusting, tightening up in the red area, holding opponents to manageable numbers, and giving the offense chance after chance. But when the other side of the ball does not respond, the pressure grows, the games get longer, and the frustration becomes impossible to hide. You look back at the performances since the bye week, and it is almost shocking. 10 points on the road against Green Bay, 16 against Detroit, and both outings felt like a team trying to figure out what it even wants to be. These are not the numbers of a contender. These are the numbers of a team searching for identity deep into the season, which is dangerous territory for a group that has ambitions far maiores do que apenas chegar aos playoffs. The statistical profile paints the same picture. The Eagles sit around the middle of the league in scoring, near the bottom in total yardage, struggling to create explosive plays, struggling to sustain drives, and sitting near the basement in third down conversions. When you see percentages hovering that low, you know the offense is not staying ahead of the chains, not keeping rhythm, not dictating anything. Instead of being aggressive and creative, the unit feels cautious, predictable, and honestly a little tense. Como se cada jogada, faz desenhada para evitar erro, e neo para atacar. The strange part is that last season, this team figured things out after the bye. They embraced a physical identity, leaned into the ground game, and let the passing attack flow naturally off that foundation. Saquon Barkley was electric, always threatening to break something big, and defenses were forced to play honest because every carry felt dangerous. This year, that spark simply has not returned. The rushing attack sits with an average poor Carregada Bay Menor Duque Ontes, and even though the attempts remain high, the explosiveness is missing. The team is running a lot, but the runs are not doing damage. The holes are smaller, the lanes close faster, and the blocking is not creating the same level of space. It becomes clear when you watch Barkley get the ball and find defenders in his lap before he even has time to make a cut. When your yards before contact drop by more than a full yard, that is not on the running back. That is on the blocking, the execution, the chemistry, and maybe even the toll of last season's heavy workload on the linemen who once dominated the line of scrimmage. And the passing game, which should be lethal with the weapons available, has looked suffocated at times. The distribution between run and pass is almost perfectly balanced, but balance alone does not make an offense effective. There's a difference between balance with purpose and balance just for the sake of avoiding mistakes. The Eagles have become conservative, and while protecting the ball is important, it can also create an offense that looks hesitant and limited. You can feel it watching the film. Safe throws, shallow concepts, and a quarterback who feels caught between wanting to be explosive and wanting to avoid turnovers at all costs. Statistics show he is still performing at a respectable level, hitting deep throws, making plays under pressure, and improving against zone coverages, but numbers do not tell the whole story when the entire unit feels out of sync. Receiver separation has become another glaring issue. When your top quarterback is consistently throwing into tight windows, you know something is off. Whether it is the route concepts, the physical condition of the receivers, or the lack of creativity in motion and formation design, the end result is the same: crowded passing lanes and limited yards after the catch. It is tough to sustain drives when every catch requires a contested effort and every route feels slower than it should look. And then there is the coaching element. Play calling has looked disjointed, lacking rhythm, lacking flow. Drives do not build on each other. Sequencing feels off. One play does not set up the next, and the offense never feels like it is building momentum. When you watch a well-coached unit, you can sense the plan unfolding. When you watch the Eagles, Too often it feels like isolated plays thrown together without a larger identity tying them into a cohesive game plan. This makes the attack predictable and easier to defend, no matter how much individual talent is on the field. The offensive line, once the backbone of this team, is dealing with injuries and inconsistency. Losing key players for stretches forces backups into critical roles, and even the regular starters have not been playing at the elite level everyone expected. You can see the fatigue from last year's marathon of physical dominance, and the constant shuffling affects timing in both the passing and running games. When the trench play drops from elite to average, everything else starts to wobble. On top of all this, the wide receivers themselves have not lived up to previous seasons. One star seems physically diminished compared to earlier years, not separating the same way, not winning the same matchups, and looking less explosive after the catch. At times, it even feels like the offense forces the ball his way in an attempt to keep him involved, which only makes the unit more predictable. Meanwhile, the receiver on the other side, who has quietly been the most consistent and explosive target this year, sometimes gets overlooked when the offense tries too hard to funnel plays elsewhere. That lack of balance in usage only amplifies the inconsistency of the attack. And all of this is happening against one of the toughest schedules in the league. Week after week, the Eagles have been facing disciplined defenses, aggressive fronts, and smart coordinators who know how to expose predictable tendencies. It is the kind of gauntlet that reveals every flaw, every weak spot, and every hesitation. It prepares a team for the postseason, sure, but only if the offense finds answers before the damage becomes irreversible. And when you dig deeper into everything that has gone wrong, it becomes clear that the issues are layered, overlapping, and all feeding into one another. You cannot pin this solely on the quarterback because despite the frustrating moments, he is still delivering in several key areas. You cannot blame only the play calling, even though the patterns are too rigid and the creativity has evaporated. You cannot simply point at the offensive line, although the drop in dominance has been undeniable. The receivers, the scheme, the timing, the injuries, the lack of identity, and even the psychological weight of last season's collapse all play a part in this stew of inconsistency. It is like every small issue that could hold an offense back decided to show up at the same time. When you watch the tape, you can sense the hesitation. The quarterback snaps the ball and looks like he is waiting for something to open that never quite does. The line fires off but loses ground half a second too soon. The receivers break on their routes but do not create enough daylight. The running back gets a handoff and instantly meets a wall of defenders. Drives stall in the same frustrating ways, whether it is a mistimed throw, a missed assignment, a predictable call, or a route combination that never threatens the defense. Everything feels a little slower, a little heavier, as if the offense is playing under a constant cloud of pressure. And it is not just physical execution. The emotional and mental side of this game plays a massive role. Last season's late-year collapse left a scar. It forced the staff to take a more conservative approach, prioritizing ball security above aggression. And that shift is visible in every play. It is as if the offense is haunted by the fear of turning the ball over, and that fear makes them less explosive, less willing to challenge defenses, less confident in their own abilities. Even the quarterback, who once looked fearless attacking downfield, appears caught between trusting his instincts and playing within a cautious structure designed to avoid mistakes. You can sense that inner conflict in his body language, in his decision-making, and in the way he reacts after certain plays. The constant coordinator changes make things even harder. Every single season, he has had to learn a new system, a new voice, a new rhythm. That kind of instability would affect almost any quarterback in the league, even the great ones. While he has handled the instability admirably, there is no denying the toll it takes on timing, chemistry, and comfort within the offense. The great players who thrive year after year usually have one thing in common: a stable system that evolves around them, not one that resets every offseason. Without that foundation, it is tough to build long-term continuity, and the effects show up whenever adversity hits. The receivers are part of this equation too. When your top wideout is not physically the same, Whether due to nagging injuries or lingering wear and tear, it changes everything. He used to create separation with ease, bully smaller defenders, and turn short catches into big gains. Now he struggles to get that initial burst, cannot shake coverage the same way, and at times looks visibly frustrated. That frustration spills onto the field and affects chemistry, especially when the offense tries to force the ball in his direction just to keep him involved. Meanwhile, the other main receiver has quietly become the more reliable and explosive option, but there are stretches where he is not featured enough because the offense feels obligated to keep the star receiver happy. That imbalance affects spacing, timing, and predictability. The tight windows are another sign of deeper issues. When your receivers are creating among the lowest separation numbers in the league, the quarterback has to throw in a much tighter spots. Those throws require perfection in timing, accuracy, and anticipation, and even when the pass is on target, the defender is usually right there to make the tackle instantly, which kills any chance of producing yards after the catch. The offense becomes a series of contested plays instead of fluid sequences, and contested plays are simply harder to sustain over an entire game. And then there is the offensive line, the group that once formed the heart of this team. When it dominated, everything else clicked. The run game punished defenses, the play action opened up, the quarterback felt comfortable, and the receivers had time to develop deeper routes. This year, the constant shuffling due to injuries, combined with natural wear from last year's historic workload, has left the line looking a step slower, less cohesive, and less physical. When your yards before contact drop dramatically, that is not a small issue. That is a structural issue. The holes that used to create highlight-level runs are now closing before they even open. The quarterback, who used to have long pockets to survey the field, now has defenders collapsing in quicker, forcing rush decisions and shorter reads. It becomes a domino effect that changes the ceiling of the entire offense. The schedule has amplified all these weaknesses. Facing one tough defense after another creates a cycle where every flaw gets exposed, every mistake is magnified, and every hesitation becomes costly. It is like running a marathon through a storm. Even if you're strong enough to reach the finish line, the constant resistance drains you along the way. These defenses are too disciplined to be beaten by predictable game plans, too aggressive to allow slow developing plays, and too smart to fall for the same tendencies week after week. To beat great defenses, you need creativity, rhythm, confidence, and identity. And right now the Eagles' offense is lacking all four. But even with everything going wrong, the pieces are still there. The quarterback has shown flashes of elite play. The receivers are talented. The running back remains explosive when he gets even a sliver of space. The line still has the potential to regain form if it gets healthier. The scheme has room to evolve if the staff is willing to adapt. The defense is giving this team every possible opportunity to stay afloat. The question now is whether the offense can find its spark before the season tightens even more. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling through league circles after an unexpected twist placed the Philadelphia Eagles back atop the conference standings. According to insiders close to league operations, the NFL has reportedly reinstated a crucial victory to the franchise, a move that has ignited debate, celebration, and no shortage of raised eyebrows across the football world. Though officials have remained publicly silent, the rumor has already taken on a life of its own, echoing through front offices, locker rooms, and sports talk shows. Sources suggest the reversal stems from an internal review that quietly revisited a late-game ruling, one that had lingering questions attached to it since the moment it unfolded. Now, with the result allegedly restored in the Eagles' favor, the team is said to have surged back into pole position within the conference race. While no formal announcement has been issued, the mere possibility has created a storm of speculation. Some analysts argue the league may be preparing to clarify procedural inconsistencies, while others believe competitive pressure from contending teams has complicated the situation behind the scenes. Within Philadelphia's orbit, The mood is described as a mix of vindication and cautious optimism. Players and staff, though officially tight-lipped, are rumored to be buzzing about the potential boost to their postseason trajectory. Rival organizations, meanwhile, are reportedly seeking clarity from league headquarters, hoping to understand how such a reversal could influence tiebreakers and seeding scenarios. For now, nothing is confirmed, but the chatter is getting louder by the hour. Whether the reinstated victory stands, whether the league addresses it publicly, or whether this all remains a tantalizing whisper, one thing is certain. The Philadelphia Eagles have once again become the center of the NFL's most intriguing storyline, one that fans and skeptics alike are watching with intense curiosity. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.